Hey notaries, Christian here with a new video, and we're going to go ahead and talk about out-of-state documents. A lot of notaries from the state of California tend to add California acknowledgements to just about any document, and this video hopefully helps you just in case you run out of California acknowledgements. It happens to me. It's happened to a lot of notaries. Sometimes we're out and we're completing these appointments, and we might just assume that we have a stack of acknowledgements left in our bag, and then once we check we find out that we only have like one, but we need more than one, or we might find out we have no acknowledgements at all. So hopefully this will help if it's an out-of-state acknowledgement form that needs to be completed, because often when we have out-of-state documents they don't have the wording for the state of California. And so we just assume that we have to add an acknowledgement to it, but that's actually not the truth. Yes, it's being notarized within California, and yes, we do have to follow California law. But if it's being sent out of state, as long as it's not, look, check this out. As long it does not say, look, I'm just going to start from the beginning so it makes perfect sense. A notary public may complete an out-of-state acknowledgement form that will be used in another state or territory of the United States as long as the notary public does not determine or certify that the signer holds a particular representative capacity or make other determinations and certifications not allowed by California law. So there is this little wording that has to be at the top of every notary acknowledgement in the state of California, or else it will be rejected, right? We all know that. It says a notary public or other officer completing the certificate verifies only the identity of the individual who signed the document to which the certificate is attached, and not the truthfulness, accuracy, or validity of that document. We know that that is found at the top of California acknowledgements and jurats. There's this little box always at the top of each document that contains this wording. At the top of every jurat and acknowledgement, this wording is there. You'll find it. If it's not there, then you do have to get a new jurat or a new acknowledgement if it's being used within the state of California. If it's going out of state, you're actually allowed to complete a document with wording that is not compatible within the state of California, so as long as it does not say that you are certifying the document or suggesting that you are working in some other type of capacity. I have seen a few states that it says certify, and I've known this for a few months, but I felt compelled to make this video because a lot of notaries always think that no matter what you have to add the acknowledgement, and that's not true, and that might save you. So there's been times it's actually happened to me where I'm like, shoot, I just ran out of acknowledgements, but the document that they're notarizing just so happens to be from a different state. And so when I read the wording for that different state, it doesn't always say the notary certifies. Sometimes it just says, acknowledge before me, the wording for that state. And so since it doesn't say certify or that I am something other than just a witness to the signature and that I verified the signer's identity, then I could go ahead and use that acknowledgement or jurat wording that they provided. So this goes for both acknowledgements and jurats. So if one day you run out of acknowledgements and someone just happens to bring out a form from another state, and so as long as it doesn't say that you're certifying it or acting in a different capacity other than a notary, you're able to notarize it. That's legal, that's fine, and it won't be rejected. Why would it be rejected, if it's going to be used in a different state? This happens a lot when people in your area have a property in a different location. Like, let's say, for example, I'm not even going to give a state name because I don't want to mention a state that does have the language certify in their wording. So let's just pretend it's just in a different state and they're in your city and they need to get it notarized, and they already have the forms that have been provided to them by escrow and title companies, and so it has the verbiage for that specific state. You can still do it because when they record it, when they record this transaction at the county clerks, it's going to be to the standards for that state, not for the standards of the state of California. Now, if it was being recorded here in the state of California, then of course, then you do have to make sure that that document has this statement at the top that I read earlier, and it has to be the exact verbiage for a California acknowledgement or jurat. because it will be recorded here. But if it's not being recorded here, then the chances are that it won't be rejected in a different state for using their verbiage. So as long as, again, recap, so as long as it doesn't say that they, that you certify, where is that section? Oh, here it is. Using the state or territory. As long as the notary public does not, as long as it doesn't say that they determine or certify that the signer holds a particular representative capacity or make other determinations and certifications not allowed by the state of California. So you can't certify or determine. So I think this is also like where this might also come into like the question about I-9s, and I'm going to go ahead and make a separate video on I-9 signings. So that's usually for like employers that want to hire an employee that's not in the same city. So I think this would fall under that, because usually they want the notary to hold a particular representative capacity, and you can't. But we'll make a separate video on that. But yeah, so I just made this video hoping that it would help somebody not use so many acknowledgements with them. You save some paper, use the paper that they have, because I know that it gets expensive to print so many papers, especially when we have so many out-of-state documents that we're notarizing, and we're like doing like 20 acknowledgements in a day or in a week, however many appointments you get, because acknowledgements are like the most used, and jurats too, but whichever one we're using, we're still using paper that's costing us money to print, and we know that's not healthy for the environment. So with that being said, this shall save some paper. You will more than likely notarize a document that's from another state that has their verbiage, and here in the state of California, we have a lot of people that own property elsewhere, especially because it's not as expensive as California, so it just gets easier for some people to own land somewhere else. And yeah, so as long as when you do that paperwork, so as long as it doesn't say that you certify, then you'll be good to go. But also, I know that some individuals use they have like the acknowledgement in a stamp, or they have the acknowledgement as a or they have like this little verbiage, the certification statement at the top, a notary public or other officer completing the certificate. That little statement, I know that statement, some people have it as a stamp. I know I do. So I would recommend that if you don't want to waste as much paper, or in case you get an out-of-state document, or even if you get an in-state California acknowledgement that has most of the verbiage but doesn't contain the statement up top, you can just add it with the stamp. That'll save you some paper, or that'll also save you some printing cost. Some people have like the entire acknowledgement as a stamp. I know I had the jurat as a stamp. I just got tired of carrying the stamp in my bag, but you could also do that to save paper and save the environment while you're at it, save some cost. All right, guys, that does it for this video. I hope this helps. Not a lot of notaries know this. Now you know this. It's a very nice loophole that you have here. Save you some time at your appointments. I know yesterday, for example, I was notarizing some documents that were going to a different state, and so I didn't pull out the acknowledgement. I was like, for what? It's not saying that I certify. It's not saying that I'm acting as a different capacity. It's not saying that the contents of this document are truthful. None of that. So I just kept the paper. I notarized the paper that they had it on, and I kept it going. So that's it. I hope you guys have a good one. Thank you.